Hello. Today we're here with Tiffany Falkenbach.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Tiffany.
My name is Tiffany Falkenbach. I am a student at Salem State, currently studying forensic science. I'll be graduating in May, with a degree in forensic science and a minor in dance. I have the ambition of hopefully one day doing investigating into kidnappings for children.
How did you get interested in that?
I began Salem State in nursing and kind of started feeling negative attitudes towards the ethics of nursing, and I decided I was more interested in the scientific aspect of it.
Okay.
So I love working in the labs.
Oh, great.
I like looking deeper into things, I guess.
What's your favorite TV show?
Definitely crime scenes.
CSI?
CSI,
Oh,
yes.
great. What about Law and Order?
It's alright.
Sorry.
It gets a little boring sometimes.
How about...
The terminology coincides with my books, though.
Oh, really?
All my textbooks, yeah.
Which one is more real, Law and Order or CSI?
CSI, definitely. Yeah.
What about the other one with the Marine Colonel? NCIS, have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I think it's funny because the words that they use in there are kind of made up, I guess, so to say. They'll say certain terms that I've been learning about in school, but they don't use it in the right context, I guess. So it's just it's kind of amusing.
Do you guys watch that in class?
No, we don't, but we make fun of it really frequently.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Do you have a special area of forensic you would like to focus on?
I'd love to do hair analysis.
Oh really?
Yeah. Unfortunately, some of the
what's my hair like?
Some of the classes at Salem State don't really allow you to go too in depth with the labs and things like that. Like we've done a lot of forensic geology. I've looked at rocks. I've memorized soils and things like that. But that's more kind of my ambition for going to to grad school, is to be able to to learn a lot more about stuff like that.
Yeah, a good friend of mine is an expert in ballistics.
Okay.
Yeah,
we've done some small projects with that and blood spatters.
Oh really?
Uh-huh.
Oh cool.
Yeah. So.
Your boyfriend couldn't get away with anything.
No. No, and he's got long hair, so he won't get away with it.
He won't get away with anything.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your professional background.
In modeling?
Yeah, modeling or whatever that you do.
I actually kind of started doing some modeling when I was a child. And then I lived in Memphis, Tennessee, where my dad used to live, and I was bartending, and we had the cast party for the movie Walk the Line, which I'm sure you've heard of, with Joaquin Phoenix. It's the life of Johnny Cash.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I had the director actually come up to me and just, asked if I had ever done some modeling work, and I had mentioned that I did a couple magazines. I did a swimsuit shoot for Glamour at one point, and so he just said, would you like to come for an audition tomorrow morning? And I said, sure, what time? And he said, 5:30, and I looked at my watch, and I was like, it's 3 o'clock right now.
Oh, yeah.
So I went in, I auditioned, and I did some filming with Cinemark Productions for 4 or 5 days, and then just kind of went on, got an agent in Boston.
Okay.
Hi, Tom. Thank you. So that's...
Hi, Tom.
You actually look a little bit like him.
Do I really?
Funny. Yeah. So... And then I've just been doing projects and commercial work is primarily what I'd love to do and get my
What's
face
your
out in the
favorite
industry.
project?
My favorite project I would have to say was with New England Medical Journal. It's with a company called Viewfinder Productions, and we worked in a hospital, and the ad was in New England Medical Journal, which I've yet to see. But it was just a really fun experience. I acted as a nurse, which was funny because I used to be a nursing student.
You have all the pedigree.
Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. I like things that are interesting and with people who are, open to new things. Whereas a lot of runway projects are just much stricter.
Yeah. And you don't get to keep the pictures.
Yeah, a lot of the time. You sign them over. You give them your soul. So.
What are your aspirations in your profession?
I'd have to say primarily, I feel that there's just this image portrayed in the media right now of, eating disorders and being anorexic and striving to be thin. And
Right.
I've always just kind of wanted to get something else out there to let girls know, that they can succeed in this
Right.
industry with eating and with being
It's
healthy.
true, yeah.
And that's kind of why I stick to a lot of projects like this where I can get myself out there, I can get my
Right.
voice out there to advocate,
Right.
for people who are struggling with things like that, and just that, if you have talent, use it. You don't
Right.
you don't have to
It's very
kill
true.
yourself over it to get the experience. So that's why I like doing commercials. I like getting my personality and smile and things like that out there.
That's great.
Yeah.
So tell us, what would you like to work on today with hypnosis?
I would like to work on stress therapy,
Okay.
for sure. I'm a full-time student. I'm working full-time. And just the overall, when that workload or, hard times in your life come about, just learning how to deal with that and managing stress, I guess, really. And finding, instead of it just kind of coming out in an outburst at times, which that can happen to a lot of people. I know for me personally, sometimes I put things inside, and then they'll just kind of shoot out of nowhere. So I'd like
Can
to
you put that into context, like when was the last time that happened?
I'd have to say it really comes about when school, like for example right now with finals and things like that.
Right.
I mean, I'm a good student, but I think that sometimes I just start worrying so much about things,
Right.
So I'd like to be able to learn how to separate kind of like, reality from your fears, I guess. And more so just knowing that, you're going to do fine.
Right.
But figuring out a way, even just like starting with like your breathing moments and stuff like that.
Okay. When was the last time you feel really stressed?
I'd have to say probably a little bit before Thanksgiving. I lost my father 2 years ago, and going home sometimes isn't as exciting as it used to be, I guess. It can be a little fearful, that just in the matter of change that things are.
Would you like to
Gonna be
talk
getting
about
different.
that, or would you?
Yeah, no, I can I feel
Okay.
comfortable talking about that.
Tell us a little bit about what happened.
My father was in an accident, an electrical accident in Florida, and he was killed instantly by contact with a wire. And I think it's something that's very different to deal with than being aware of someone being sick or knowing that there's a possibility of losing, a parent. That's been something very difficult to deal with while being away from my family. My family lives out in close to Springfield, Mass, and it's just
Okay.
to know that I can drive there is comforting, but to not have them around a lot of the time is very hard. There was definitely a moment where I thought that I wasn't going to give up with school, but I almost decided to transfer and just go home. And there's still a lot of moments that I feel that way, but so a lot of stress comes on with not so much being independent, because I'm good at that and I like my solitude, but at the same time, just knowing sometimes that you're alone can be frightening.
Now, when you talk about these lonely thoughts, or when you feel that you may need to stop, continuing your education, are those thoughts? When do those thoughts begin?
I think they begin when you lose someone that close to you, you start to sometimes imagine that you're going to lose other people that are close to you. So it's when I start to worry about
So
my
you don't
mother.
have those. You don't have these thoughts before the passing of your father, right?
Not so much.
Okay, I just want to make that clear. Okay.
Yeah. I think they've come on more recently.
Okay. Do you find the frequency of those thoughts more 2 years ago, or has it been increasingly more intrusive?
I'd say increasingly more within the past 2 years.
Do you feel those thoughts intrusive, or could you stop them?
I think that they could be stopped. Definitely think that they could be. I just, like I said in the beginning, I just would love to know ways to stop them. Like
Okay.
when they're coming into your head, ways to kind of filter them out and not have them be so strong.
Okay. Do you find those are the moments where you feel most stressed?
Yes.
And are those the moments that you would like to work on the most?
Yes.
Okay. So it's not like when you talk about stress, it's not.
I mean,
not like
it's
a
other
physical exhaustion.
things. No, I mean there are other things
Okay.
that are stressful. But if I had to pinpoint kind of what creates the stress, sometimes someone will say, if something goes wrong in their day, and then it kind of all adds up from there.
Right.
I guess more so if something like that happens, then it leads to me thinking more about the past
Right.
and about, fears. So it's kind of like something has to set it off to really create that ball in which sometimes I just feel like I can't get out.
Did you have a chance to talk to somebody?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
It was kind of an interesting experience. But
Is it a professional or is it
Yeah.
a friend? Okay.
yeah, it was.
Um,
I worked with a deaf communicator.
mhm.
I didn't do it directly. My family did, and kind of conversed back and forth. And then I spoke to a therapist at my college.
A deaf communicator?
Mm-hmm.
That's in like deaf or?
No, deaf.
Okay.
As in deaf.
Okay.
Yeah. Deaf communicator. Who had essentially,
See, I didn't know that.
got visions, kind of like a psychic,
Okay.
but definitely pinpointed some things that were real.
Okay.
It wasn't kind of one of those things that you see on TV and laugh.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. And in a broader spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
how does those episodes affect your life?
How do they affect
Episodes of stress.
I guess at times they can kind of bring forth a feeling of insecurity. Like,
What is your personal meaning of the word insecurity?
I guess just having an ambition or a dream or what, you envision in your future or even sometimes your day, and then because of this instance or this stress, feeling like you can't do what you want. You can't accomplish because you feel like, what you have to offer sometimes isn't enough, I guess.
Do you feel your personal ambition have changed?
My personal what?
Ambition
No.
changed?
No. I don't.
So how does it affect your ambition when you use that word?
How does stress affect
Yeah.
my ambition?
Or when you have those stress episodes?
Well, I mean, I know in school there have been plenty of times where I'll be sitting and studying and just kind of say to myself, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm not supposed to, get this job or graduate. There's a big fear right now for me with graduation coming up. And always kind of worrying about each subject and each course. And I'm not going to get to the end and I'm not going to see the bigger picture.
When do you expect to graduate?
May 2007. I hope.
You're there already.
Yeah, exactly.
It could just be, it's graduation and
Yeah,
and you have to give up a routine that you have been holding on to for the last 13 years since like
Exactly.
elementary school.
And
It
it's
could
just-
just be that, very
it
simple.
could be that. I think I had a conversation on the way up here, and it's just kind of the discussion of you've done all this work and you have these dreams, but it's just kind of like you're thrown out into this bigger world when you graduate, and it's like that picture that you kind of just see right around the corner isn't so close to you anymore. I guess it's fighting against all those other people out there who have these dreams, all these students in Boston or anywhere in the world that are studying the same thing as you, and here you are working your best and thinking, oh, I'm on this scholarship, I have good grades, but it's like you're so minuscule in the larger picture of things. And that sometimes can be scary too, to have these dreams and not know if you're gonna,
Make it.
accomplish them. Yeah.
You're smart.
Yeah.
You're capable. And does that stress you?
Yeah. I think the word stress and scare is kind of similar in my mind. When I get scared, I get stressed.
Do you think that you're able to control that kind of fear?
Yeah. I think I would need some advice and coaching in that.
Right.
But I think with the right guidance, then yeah.
Like what we can do today is to make you feel happier and less stressed, and it's like a massage.
Uh-huh.
You go out and you feel very happy, and you'll be happy for a little while. But
Yeah.
if you're gonna go back to a stressful job,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're like a marathon runner,
Yeah.
Yeah. 4 weeks from now you come back to the same situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just thinking about is there like a long-term kind of strategy for you to maintain motivated?
I would hope so.
Is there a counselor that you can talk to?
Yeah.
Do you make regular appointments with your counselor?
No, I don't.
Maybe do you talk to people in general about your career?
Yeah.
Just your peers, or are they like?
You mean, do I talk to professionals about?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of right now there's a lot of programs being offered with like resume workshops and things like that. Like, you have this degree, okay, so now what are you going to do with it? And that's definitely something that I want to seek out.
This is more, I think, and this is just what I think, right?
Okay.
You need more than just like instructional guidance, right?
Right.
I think you got it made.
Yeah.
In terms of instructions, like you're smart, you have good grades,
Yeah.
and you pretty much know what to do to apply to grad school.
Mm-hmm.
You know what to do when you apply for a job.
Right.
And you got those down.
Yeah.
And the other thing is like an emotional support, right?
Right.
Those are really, you don't need to see a priest or like a psychologist. You just need a person to sit down with you and just be a cheerleader for you and say, you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the right thing. You're doing the right thing. It's like a navigator for the ship, right?
Yeah.
The captain plot the course
Mm-hmm.
and say, in 2 weeks we're going to reach London. But you still need a navigator
right, to let you know.
To make sure it's running the course.
Exactly.
So, maybe after today you may want to make like a few appointments to a school counselor.
Yeah, definitely.
And just have somebody telling you that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think it's so much that I need encouragement. It's that, I mean, like you said, people will go back to their jobs, but I guess that I'm just such a happy person inside.
Right.
That I want to see my career where it goes, but I also want to know that that's something that I look forward to every day, that it's not going to be an atmosphere that I walk in and I'm, just like, oh man, here again, another day. So I guess it's like I seek this ambition, but I also seek this.
That is more like a personal attitude kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think no matter I don't think it is the job that makes a person to say, oh man, I'm here again.
Yeah.
Like I've seen
that's true.
people that are working a minimum wage coming home very happy seeing his wife and kids. I've seen doctors who curse and swear from like 6 a.m. to like 11 p.m. say I don't want to be here, I don't want to be here. It's something that you can really control yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have positive and motivated attitude.
Yeah.
And every job you walk into, that you'll be happy, right?
Mm-hmm. I know one thing though, like if I had to describe to you sometimes the way I feel when I begin to get stressed out, it's almost like you say, you walk away from a massage and you feel like, it feels like sometimes like literally there are just like bricks being placed on my shoulders,
Okay.
So that'd be definitely something that I'd be interested in learning, and I'm not sure if much about that, but I mean, I know that there's exercises and yoga and things like that, all of which I try to stay on top of.
That part is easy. I'm just thinking about you having a plan, or like a road that you can follow when you walk out of today's session.
Okay.
So there seems to be 3 things that are bothering you right now, right?
Okay.
From where I stand, you can feel free to correct me.
Okay, I will.
One is like a fear of the unknown.
Yeah. Most definitely.
You're about to go into this world.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect.
Right.
Fair enough, right? Second thing is you're physically and mentally exhausted. I can see that you're a hard worker. You're very professional. To get this job, you called me like 4 times, and you replied email very properly. And this is just one job, right? I'm sure that you reply to like 15 other people throughout the week. Plus, you have to drive around. You have to get into Boston. You have to go here and there.
Yeah.
So you're working a couple of jobs and maintaining a full-time job.
Yeah.
I mean, a full-time scholarship.
Yeah.
So you're exhausted. That will contribute to stress.
Yeah.
And it sounded like the passing of your father also is at the back of your mind. And there are some issues, I think, that could be dealt with.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be today.
Right.
We don't really have time to do that, and I don't feel that this is the right time to do it. But feel free to find a therapist or a school counselor that you can at least talk to.
Yeah.
I don't think it is a complicated issue.
No, I don't think so either.
I think you just need somebody to listen to you.
Yeah.
You just need to talk it out.
Yeah. Just need a place to vent.
Yes, I agree with that. And a little bit more than that is like, there are a lot of thoughts and feelings about what happened. And it's all just running against each other and bouncing around in your head right now.
Right.
And they're just randomly picking on your emotions, randomly picking on your mental strength, right?
Exactly.
So it's sort of like eating away a part of you. Until you can like articulate those feelings and thoughts. It will help you a lot to just talk it out and know what exactly that you're feeling, and know exactly what you're thinking, and just make it clear to yourself what those thoughts are, and you can resolve that pretty quickly. How do you feel about that assessment?
No, I think it's good because I think sometimes you need to hear yourself say out loud what's going on in you. You can talk to people about your life sometimes or what went on in your day, but there aren't many times that you kind of sit down and you say, okay, this is what's going on inside of me, and to get your response, to hear those 3 points. And you're right, you're on point. Those are the 3 things that are really...
Right. I think you need like a professional, not because I think you need professional help, but it's just, if you say that to your friends, they don't understand how to listen.
Yeah.
And your close friend may confuse and convolute what you're saying, right?
Right.
Like if you say something to your close friend, she's automatically going to relate on some other things you've said before.
Right.
Whereas a therapist would not have that bias, right?
Right.
Are you religious at all?
Not exactly.
Okay. Do you want to be?
I do believe in a higher spirit. I know that God is with me. My middle name is Faith, so I definitely have faith.
Yeah, well...
I was baptized.
Oh, were you? In Catholic?
No, Protestant.
Protestant? Okay.
So,
the cheapest way to get counseling is go to your church and talk to the pastor. It's free, it's there.
No, I've gone to services on my campus for Mass.
Right.
and I enjoy it. It's just kind of, once again, like everybody's excuse finding the time, but I guess that really is just an excuse because it's on Sundays.
Right, and it's like
but there's football.
Right,
so.
yeah. And it's early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we're out in Boston the night before. So.
In terms of work, I don't think there's much you can do. But you exercise a lot, right? Like I can tell.
I try to. Been slacking a little bit recently with the holidays.
Okay.
But for the most part, yeah. But in terms of my job, that's definitely brings happiness towards me. I'm a nanny.
Oh, really?
Take care of 2 children, and essentially most days I would say that they're definitely a light in my life. So that's a great job to have.
Right.
The modeling industry is a completely different spectrum when it comes to stress. It's a lot of fun.
It is
a lot of work.
Competitive, yeah.
It's very competitive, especially in Boston. We've got a very small acting and modeling community.
Oh, really?
Most definitely. Yeah. And I'm not in the city too, so like you said,
That's true.
that's normally why I do call a couple times to make sure that the distance I'm traveling is
It's worth your time.
yeah.
What would you recommend to yourself as simple lifestyle way of relieving stress?
For me, it's kind of finding the things that I like to do and being with the people that I enjoy being around.
Well, like even more simpler, like exercise.
Exercise and writing, I would say, are my 2 biggest outlets.
Okay.
I know that even within this past week, I've exercised every day, and I feel 100 times better than I did last week.
Right.
So I know that that's something that I want to keep up with. Today it wasn't so much, I'm sore from kickboxing a couple nights ago. It was like, I want to do this because it feels amazing when I do it.
Right, and you feel good afterwards.
Exactly. And running is really therapeutic. You can think while you run.
Right.
And you kind of beat up the pavement as you go along.
Right.
So.
You quit pounding the pavement.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you eat all right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I would say actually I'm a very healthy eater.
Okay.
I've been called a rabbit. I like vegetables.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not something I have a problem with. And it's not so much like a conscious thing. I like healthy foods, and I guess I'm lucky to be that way.
Right.
I was raised, kind of in a farmland where there was vegetable and fruit stands and things like that. So that I'm lucky for. And I know that definitely, quote unquote, replenishes people's soul, and they are getting vitamins and nutrients and all those things.
So the second point could easily be answered with like good lifestyle. And you're doing well.
Yeah.
The first
better
point,
when you're on the go. It's not, it's hard to fit those things in. Exercise and healthy eating becomes.
We can take care of that with hypnosis.
Yeah. I'd love to do that.
What was the first point? Oh yeah, you're about to graduate, right?
Yes.
Think about it this way: it's like human nature, right? It's what the sensation that you're feeling is normal for anybody in your situation. It will be abnormal for somebody to
not be worried.
Yeah, to not be worried in the face of uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
The question is, do you let that get to you?
Yeah.
Right. So
you know what it is? It's like there's been so many other people. I guess what I need to stop doing is comparing myself to others, I guess.
I do.
I go home into an atmosphere where people I grew up with who are, graduated, and before they graduated had, $90,000 jobs offered to them, and it's just like, they studied international relations or financial banking or things like that, so that's good for them. But I guess sometimes when you hear all those stories, you kind of think, oh gosh, what am I going to do, Because I know that one thing that I do want is financial stability eventually.
Right.
You experience it. Every college student experiences that, okay, I have $26 for the next 3 weeks and I need to eat and things like that. So I think when you do work and support yourself in college to then think, you know, to get into this bigger world where you can't just go to your school cafeteria and get food if you have to, or things like that. That's a
What
fear.
if you're in my chair, right? What would you recommend yourself?
Not to worry so much.
Not to worry so much?
Yeah, I'm definitely a worrier.
And
I think that there are times where I need to look at my accomplishments, you know, the fact that I got all these amazing grades on these exams this week, or, you know, I did something positive for a child's life, or I helped a friend, or I drove, you know, an hour and a half to my boyfriend's house to bring him medicine. Things like that. I need to sit back and really evaluate the good things that I'm doing and realize that those good things are going to go into,
that's very
you know,
wise. You
into
can
my
never have
life.
enough things, right?
Yeah,
And there's always more things that you don't have than things that you do have, right?
exactly.
No matter how successful you are, there's always another success story which, you know, you envy, right?
Exactly.
You know, you want to focus on more like positive
And
energy.
more on you than
More like
other
constructive
people.
energy rather than, you know, envy is like a destructive kind
Exactly.
of energy, right? It's a powerful energy, but you want to catch yourself when you're. It's good to compare to other people,
yeah, and that's natural.
It's
Everyone
natural.
does it.
but catch the emotion of envy and jealousy,
Yeah, most definitely.
and say to yourself, oh, this is just me being jealous, and
Yeah.
I shouldn't do this. You know, I'm better than this, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Give yourself more credit for who you are.
Right. And you can, another way of thinking about this is just to take it one day at a time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just very hard to picture 10 years
Yeah.
at once. Like, nobody could feel comfortable, like planning 10 years in its always vastness and uncertainty,
Exactly.
right? But, you know, take it one day at a time. What do you need to do tomorrow? You know, fill out the grad school application,
Yeah.
fill out the financial aid form.
Yeah.
You know, when that is done, what's the next step? You know, go to Christmas dinner. You know, one day at a time. And
Yeah.
it's not far away from now. It's May.
No. Exactly. Just kind of focus on each day, then
Right.
so much worrying about the next.
Yeah,
and
it's
the
like
next.
running a marathon, right?
Yeah.
People tell me that they couldn't possibly picture all 26 miles in their head.
Yeah.
They couldn't even picture the next mile ahead. You just take it one step at a time, right?
Yeah.
When I was in the army, like, I hate running.
Mm-hmm.
Every morning you get up at 5 and you run until at noon, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I can comprehend a 13-mile run every morning, but like, what I do is I look at the next light post.
Yeah.
If I can get there, I look at the next light post ahead. Next thing I know, I will finish the thing.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I pretend someone's chasing me.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. I do. I pretend there's wolves behind me, and if I keep running, then they're gonna get me.
Oh, all right.
That's
Whatever
what I do
works.
when I exercise. Everyone has their own method.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I think you're right. I think, you know, even possibly each morning being like, you know, okay, this is what I have on my plate,
Right.
and kind of essentially patting yourself on the shoulder at the end of each day, you know. It's not so much like, oh, you did it, you got through the next day, but
Well,
you're
every
still
day.
pausing and realizing, you know, all the good things that are around you that a lot of people just don't see.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna sound like a new age Tony Robbins motivational kind of guy, but like, spend some time and appreciate what you've accomplished at the end
Yeah.
of the day, and spend some time, you know, appreciate what you have, right?
Exactly.
A lot of people don't have what you have,
Most definitely.
you know. Yeah. So, is there anything else I should know?
This has been a really amazing experience for I will admit I was a little bit skeptical. I was a little skeptical
About.
about coming and
Oh, okay.
kind of expressing.
I hope you got your money's worth.
No, not only that, but you know, I just didn't know what to expect. I didn't
Right.
know if I would just kind of be able
The
to...
best part is yet to come.
Is it?
So what we're about to do is hypnosis.
Okay.
You feel great. When this is done, you feel like you just slept for the last 12 hours.
Okay.
Everybody who have went under hypnosis told me that they could do this all day.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it.
You will not be unconscious. You'll be quite aware of what's happening around you. You can still hear the sound around you, and you can follow the sound of my voice. It will feel more like when you're laying on the bed at nighttime, just before you fall asleep.
Okay. That total point of relaxation.
Kind of like relaxation is like a bodily response, right? But more like a mental response. Like you can doze off on a bus.
Mm-hmm.
You're not relaxed, but you're asleep, right?
Yeah.
So it's more like right before you fall asleep when you're just bouncing between, construction of reality and a construction of dreams, right?
Okay.
You can still hear everything around you. If your family have the TV on, you can still hear that. You don't care about that, but you can still hear that.
Still hear it.
If the fire alarm goes off, you wake up and you run out of the house, right? So it feels like that. You're going to bounce between totally aware of what's happening here to like sometimes they will be inserting some like strange images and then it will fade out.
Okay.
And then it will just feel like that fading in and out kind of sensation.
Okay.
You will always have full control of your mind and your body.
Okay.
The analogy of that is like, if I'm your tour guide to Paris, I take you to the Eiffel Tower and you follow me, right?
Right.
I take you to this cafe and you follow me.
Okay.
At any time you don't feel like following me, you can like go see some other things,
Okay.
If I start jumping off the bridge, right, like you're not going to follow me.
No.
Right? So you always have complete control over your mind and your body, but just let me guide you.
Okay.
So, do you have any questions before we start?
No.